is going to be the toughest fight of his career.
Sharp, relax.
The most embarrassing fight of his career.
Chair across your face.
Yeah, I think he's about to cry.
I'm definitely up for fighting. There's a lot of names in the division, for sure. But at the same time, look at what this creates as well. I'm a fighter and I understand that economics of business as well. And this does good business.
Are you really going to do this? Absolutely. Are we going to do this? For a record payday? To go in and spark Jake Paul before we start the serious stuff in 2026? Don't tell me what we should and what we shouldn't be doing.
One Anthony Joshua has delivered a serious, measured warning to Jake Paul, and this time, it goes far beyond pre-fight bravado. While Paul may be viewing this matchup as the biggest financial opportunity of his career, Joshua's team is openly stressing how uneven and potentially hazardous this contest could be. Promoter Eddie Hearn has urged Paul to fully grasp what he is stepping into, hinting that even a single clean shot from Joshua could change the entire trajectory of the fight. At the same time, former professional Moses Atama has cautioned that sharing the ring with Joshua is not just business, it carries real physical risk, raising the stakes far beyond simple entertainment, and that is where the tension truly begins.
And Anthony Joshua should not get in the way of Fury and Joshua. Really, in my view, it's an absolute joke. It shouldn't be sanctioned. I really don't believe it should be sanctioned. I have a sneaking suspicion that it would be a very big fight. But the biggest thing is us rubbernecking to actually see if they do get to the point where they step in the ring together. Because Jake Paul's an area level fighter, a British area level fighter, and Anthony Joshua is still a killer and a live heavyweight. That should not be sanctioned anywhere in the world, in my view.
It's dangerous, mate.
Very dangerous.
It brings the sport into disrepute. The people that are talking about organising that, they should have a real hard look at themselves. Because
but even Eddie Hearn's kind of teasing he doesn't like it, but you can see the glimpse of dollars.
There's no price. There is no price.
There shouldn't be.
There's absolutely no price on the planet in order to make.
For Jake Paul, agreeing to face Anthony Joshua is not just a bold move, it is, according to many analysts, a monumental gamble with his long-term well-being. Seasoned voices in the boxing world, including Ariel Hill, have highlighted how Joshua's combination of power, timing, and top-level experience could put Paul in situations he has never encountered before. They warn that if Paul is not fully prepared for that level of intensity, the effects of such a challenge could be felt long after the final bell, which makes this potential clash far more than a typical high-profile bout.
Has been beaten 3 times. The 4 fighters that he beat didn't come to win. So he's not in his prime, is he? He's literally at the end of his career, pretty much finished. And this is why taking this fight with you is telling you all you need to know. It's a cash out. He might as well just cream as much money as he can at the end of his career, fighting an absolute joke shop in clown world. When I beat Anthony Joshua, he says, every doubt disappears. Come on. I mean, if this is a straight up AJ versus Jake Paul, then we all know what should happen. This is a 1-round job. Because AJ, even though he's past his best, even though he's seen better days, he throws a nice 1-2 down the middle. He's got a nice bit of distance, and fake Paul can't fight. He just can't. I don't care what anybody tells me. He can't fucking fight. He lost to Tommy Fury, for crying out loud. He can't jump in with Anthony Joshua now and expect to get a result. So, nothing's going to no doubt's going to disappear.
Rising heavyweight Moses Atama has gone even further, urging Jake Paul to consider his health first and the payday second, emphasizing that one mistimed move against a heavyweight like Joshua could lead to consequences that linger for years. Echoing that concern, former world champion Amir Khan has suggested that Joshua possesses the kind of strength and precision that could leave a lasting mark on Paul if things go wrong. Together, their voices form a chorus of caution around this fight, raising the question of whether ambition might be pushing Paul into truly dangerous territory.
Joshua sparked him out in like 2 rounds. Really? Yeah, why do you look surprised when I don't?
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying.
Come on, bro, you're fighting like one of the best heavyweight fighters in the world against a YouTuber. Like, come on. Like, respect the sport of boxing. And if AJ has to go in there and show these influencers that, listen, you can't fuck about with boxing. You know what I mean? Someone's going to get hurt badly, and this could be one of the first fights where a fighter gets hurt badly, because if you look at the size difference and the power difference, I mean, bro, there could be brain damages going on there. AJ could hurt him badly, you know.
Well, when you look at Francis Ngannou, who's one of the most fearsome combat styles there is. I know it's MMA, but we saw what AJ did to Ngannou. So
and that's why you don't look. You can't be surprised if AJ is going to do the same to what's it called again?
Anthony Joshua. This proposed fight is about much more than a large purse. It is another chapter in the story of his legacy. Pundits like Johnny Nelson believe Joshua is stepping into a difficult narrative. If he dominates Paul quickly, some will say the matchup was mismatched. But if the contest is competitive or drags on too long, critics may argue he has drifted toward show business rather than greatness. In this sense, Joshua is walking a tightrope where every round will shape how fans remember this phase of his career, turning what looks like a sure win on paper into a delicate test of perception.
I do believe it because AJ is involved, and I think AJ would struggle to he's going to take enough flack over this, but again, it's money talk. So I think AJ will struggle because it's an Owen situation. If he goes in there, Jake Paul lasted the distance. What does he tell you about AJ? Apart from he's just earned an extra 15 million quid. If he goes there and struggles with Jake Paul, then what do you say about AJ? Your heydays are well and truly over. If he goes in there and knocks him out, then I'll say that's to be expected. So the glory, there's probably not much glory in it, apart from the haters of Jake Paul to say, right, I've got rid of this kid. I think it's very brave of Jake Paul. So now the problem child has got us to believe this fight's actually happening. So now you've got our attention. So now you've got to back up the boast. It's not about you're not playing tiddlywink. This is the only game you can't play. You can play football, golf.
Johnny Nelson has offered a sharp, layered assessment of Jake Paul's standing in the sport. He praises Paul as a brilliant strategist for how he has built a lucrative brand. Yet he stops short of labeling him a genuine world-level contender. In Nelson's view, Paul operates at a solid domestic level inside the ring, while earning purses, usually reserved for established champions, without following the traditional path through amateur circuits and long years in small venues. Nelson notes that Paul rose first as a digital star and then stepped into boxing, cleverly monetizing his influence. But when the conversation shifts to truly elite, highly skilled competition, he remains unconvinced that Paul belongs in that upper echelon, and that doubt hangs heavily over this matchup.
Daniel Dubois, he's going to be 35 years of age. It's crazy what I'm about to ask you, but can Jake Paul really beat Anthony Joshua?
All right, listen, I give all credit. Everyone knows that. They get mad at me that I gave too much credit to Paul. Why? He's done a hell of a job to put himself in this position. He sold himself. He sold his dream. He took his dream. He took his idea. He put it out there, and he made it happen. Give him credit for that. And he made it happen. And he took risk along the way. Yeah, he picked his spots. He's in the driver's seat. He gets to pick his spots. He's the one bringing the money. He's the one promoting. Yeah, he's the name. He made himself that, coming from where he came from, with all his followers and the whole thing, and just the uniqueness of what he was doing. But he has learned along the way. He's not a top guy yet. No, I don't know that he ever will be. He didn't have that amateur background and the things that you usually need to be a top guy. But he has improved. He is a work in progress. He is a guy that you got to give him credit that he's respected the sport. He went out.
Former champion Carl Froch largely echoes that sentiment, warning that a bout with Jake Paul might do little to enhance Joshua's legacy, and could even give skeptics fuel to question whether he is still chasing all-time greatness. At the same time, Joshua has repeatedly emphasized how much he values leaving the sport in good physical condition, once stating that his true legacy would be simply walking away healthy and whole. That balance between financial opportunity, competitive pride, and long-term well-being adds another layer of intrigue to this already complex story.
Bunsen burner's lit, like I've said. He's cashing out. And fair play to him, he's cashing out. But to what detriment to his legacy? A lot, really. Because if this is going to be his last fight, fighting this clown show, I mean, it's not ideal, is it? It's no ideal way to go out. But people would argue, well, he's just taking the money and running. So you can't really argue with that. So that's it for another episode of Frost on Fire. I had to get my opinion out there because I know you've all been waiting for it. It's a shame, really. I'd like to see Anthony Joshua, actually, even though I don't believe he can do it. But when Eddie Hearn tells us that AJ is going to become a 3-time world champ, it'd be nice to see the rebuilding process and get back behind him. 1 or 2 easy fights and then go for a world title. And this could be one of the 2 easy fights. But I just think if you're going to jump in with fake Paul at this level, which is like I say, arguably a massive mismatch, it's no way to step towards or climb a ladder to get towards that world title. So this, for me, tells me that Anthony Joshua knows he's finished at any sort of elite level or world level. He won't be trying to go down the world title level anymore. This is just a cash out. So good luck to him. Fair play to him, but hopefully when he's finished this fight, he'll be honest with us and say, listen, I've milked it, I've creamed it, I've had an unbelievable touch at the end of my career. I mean, he's already had an outrageous touch, hasn't he, with the involvement of Saudi Arabia, and now he's just creaming it at the end. He's got fake Paul, which is massive. Great for AJ, fair play to him. Anybody would do the same at the end of the career he's had. You know, he's not an elite heavyweight, is he? He's never going to come back and become a...
Jake Paul, however, remains adamant that he can defeat Anthony Joshua, pointing to what he perceives as clear vulnerabilities in Joshua's recent outings. On his podcast, Paul has criticized Joshua's resilience and mobility, suggesting that the former champion no longer possesses the same durability or fluidity he once had. He views Joshua's recent stoppage defeat to Daniel Dubois as evidence that the timing is ideal for a major upset. In Paul's mind, his unconventional style, unwavering self-belief, and rising momentum combined to give him a legitimate chance in a matchup many would label a colossal risk. And that confidence could become the storyline of Fight Week.
Why is Jake Paul doing this? Well, I think it's because he genuinely believes there is a chance he can win this. I think he's calculated everything about Anthony Joshua's circumstances and he's gone, yeah, I actually think I can do this. I can leapfrog so many years of having to build and go through the ranks and do all that stuff by beating a shop-worn Anthony Joshua. And what are the factors in Jake Paul believing this? Well, it would be firstly that AJ received a loss in his most recent fight. Anthony Joshua's not been in the ring since September 2024, so over a year by the time him and Jake Paul get in the ring together. It will have been around 15 months. It was the manner of Joshua's loss where he looked terrible. He looked like a fighter that was well past his best. His timing wasn't there. He even looked a little bit chinny, dare I say. I mean, I still think he's got a good chin. The shot he took from Dubois was absolutely massive and would have knocked down many heavyweights. And he showed decent powers of recovery to get up and struggle through for as long as he did before his over-aggression and miscalculation with the type of shots he was using got him knocked out by Dubois. But if you're deluded enough like Jake Paul, then perhaps you look at that and go, he landed a massive right hand on Joshua's chin. Why can't I do the same? I believe myself to be a very big puncher. And it's that old saying, isn't it? You know, you shoot for the stars, you might at least land on the moon. And I think that's kind of why Jake Paul's maybe got to where he is in life, because he does have too much self-confidence. He does believe in himself. Well,
according to Paul, this is the moment he silences every critic who has claimed he only targets smaller, aging, or less prepared opponents. By pursuing a clash with Anthony Joshua, former unified heavyweight champion and a true giant of the division, Paul insists he is finally stepping into the deepest waters the sport has to offer. He argues that if he manages to defeat Joshua, every lingering doubt about his seriousness as a boxer will evaporate, leaving him not just as a crossover attraction, but as a figure who forced the boxing world to reevaluate him in real time.
Fight a real boxer. They said, fight someone your size. They said, fight a world champion. We looked at a long list of supposed...
Legendary trainer and analyst Teddy Atlas has taken a cautious yet fascinated stance on the potential showdown between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. While he believes the jumping quality and experience might be a step too far for Paul, he does not dismiss the fight outright. Atlas notes that Joshua's recent stoppage defeat and subsequent time away from the ring could leave psychological questions, what he calls ghosts in the attic, that might surface under pressure, even though he still regards Joshua as the more complete and powerful boxer. Atlas is curious to see which version of AJ would enter the ring, adding a layer of uncertainty that keeps fans guessing.
Having said all of that, this might be a step too far. Now, when I say it, I'm also, I try to be responsible. I've been in this game 50 years, so I know where not to step, where you could twist an ankle, or worse, you could break a leg or fall down. When I say that with the understanding too that Joshua's coming off being knocked out. Joshua hasn't fought for a year, right? But it's about a year. And there's some ghost in his attic. There are. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's gotten rid of some of them, but I know that in the position of a fighter coming where he's coming from, there are ghosts in your attic. I don't know if those ghosts are still taking up space. I don't know if maybe there could be no better exorcism for those ghosts than fighting a Jake Paul. That might be just the exorcism you need to clear out the attic. I don't know. That's the problem. We don't know. That's the mystery part of this. That's what makes it so, it makes it two things at once. Intriguing and in some ways...
Atlas is also clear-eyed about Jake Paul's ceiling as a fighter, even as he respects Paul's determination and business acumen. He describes Paul as a work in progress, someone who stepped into the sport with respect, trained diligently, and treated boxing seriously rather than as a casual spectacle. Yet, Atlas stops short of predicting world championship success, suggesting that Paul has carved out a smart promotional lane, but may not be equipped to consistently defeat the truly elite. In his view, Paul must choose his challenges carefully, because not every opponent can be approached as another calculated experiment.
That does it for this week's recaps and previews. I want to throw one more thing at you, and that's the news. It's been out there for about a month or so, and it's picking up more steam. Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. Now, Eddie Hearn came out this week most recently and said, I never thought I would say this, but right now the front runner for this fight is Jake Paul for Anthony Joshua's ring return. Joshua coming up almost on a year in September since his KO loss to Daniel Dubois. He's going to be 35 years of age. It's crazy what I'm about to ask you, but can Jake Paul really beat Anthony Joshua?
All right, listen, I give all credit. Everyone knows that. They get mad at me that I give too much credit to Paul. Why? He's done a hell of a job to put himself in this position. He sold himself. He sold his dream. He took his dream. He took his idea. And he put it out there, and he made it happen. Give him credit for that. And he made it happen. And he took risk along the way. Yeah, he picked his spots. He's in the driver's seat. He gets to pick his spots. He's the one bringing the money. He's the one promoting. Yeah, he's the name. He made himself that, coming from where he came from, with all his followers and the whole thing, and just the uniqueness of what he was doing. But he has learned along the way. He's not a top guy yet. No, I don't know that he ever will be. He didn't have that amateur background and the things that you usually need to be a top guy. But he has improved. He is a work in progress. He is a guy that you got to give him credit that he's respected the sport. He went out.
Boxing commentator Aid Oladipo has offered a very direct forecast. If Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua genuinely meet in the ring, he expects Joshua to close the show swiftly. In a recent discussion, Oladipo argued that Paul's confidence and public bravado do not fully reflect the reality of sharing the ring with a seasoned former heavyweight champion. He even suggested that Joshua has the capability to end the contest in well under a minute if he finds his rhythm early. While Oladipo credits Paul for the courage to call out such a physically imposing opponent, he still leans heavily toward Joshua's experience and proven power. At the same time, Paul has hinted that the event itself could reach staggering financial heights, estimating that the total package including streaming rights, pay and global deals might approach figures in the hundreds of millions of dollars, potentially making it one of the most lucrative nights the sport has ever seen.
AJ versus Jake Paul. Jab.
AJ.
Defense.
AJ.
Chin.
AJ.
Footwork.
AJ.
Boxing IQ.
AJ.
Personality.
If Jake Paul were to suffer a one-sided defeat against Anthony Joshua, the impact on his marketability could be significant. At present, Paul is one of the rare crossover names who can reliably attract large audiences through a mix of social media influence and curiosity. A decisive loss to an established heavyweight, however, would give skeptics a powerful narrative that he is entertaining, but not equipped to compete with genuine top-tier professionals. casual viewers might begin to see him more as an entertainer than a serious contender. And even future high-profile events could lose some shine. Promoter Eddie Hearn has warned that, if the outcome is especially lopsided, it might mark a turning point for Paul's boxing brand. Ultimately, this proposed showdown is far more than a spectacle. It is a high-stakes wager on health, legacy, and perception for both men. Paul views it as the fight that could finally secure his place in the boxing conversation. While many observers argue he is venturing close to the edge against a heavyweight of Joshua's caliber. Meanwhile, Joshua stands to earn one of the biggest paydays of his career. Yet any misstep could invite criticism about his choices and competitive direction. The fight promises enormous attention and financial reward, but many in the sport still question whether the competitive balance truly justifies the risk.
Take Jake Paul that serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. Swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, I just he's just so much wrong. It's just everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defence. He telegraphs his punches. Like, you put him in with someone his own size, it was a professional, and it's a mismatch. And you'll see that if he ends up fighting somebody. Tommy Fury, bless him, he's a pro boxer, but he's inexperienced. He's got no amateur pedigree. He's a raw novice, or maybe just above the raw novice. I was saying earlier, where would I put him in terms of levels? He'd do well to win a British title. He's at that sort of level, and then from British title to world level, it's like different worlds. It's like totally.
So the question now hangs over the entire boxing world. Is Jake Paul bravely chasing history, or is he stepping into a challenge that could cost him far more than he expects against Anthony Joshua?